Hi everyone, once again welcome to the another amazing topic. So today in this topic I'll teach you that how you can use Vuex in your Vue.js application. So first question arises that what is Vue.js and why we are using here in this course. So basically Vuex is a state management tool, or you can say that it's a state management pattern which is used to manage our state in Vue.js application. So I told you there are two types of two ways to manage the states using Pinia and Vuex. And Vuex is an official and recommended way to use this for the managing the state. And it's mostly asked in the interviews that if you are applying for a Vue.js developer, so they will ask you that you know the Vuex, right? So that's why here I'm going to use this Vuex to maintain our state in our application. So what is the meaning of state? So state mean, let's suppose I came on the application. So in the Laravel we are checking this using auth that we are logged in or not, but Vue.js we need to pass our state that our user is logged in or not, and we can do this decision based on our local storage token, right? Is our token is set or not. So basically state is a thing which is used to check that user status, is it logged in or not, right? So we can check the state, maybe it be the login state. So our user is logged in or not, is it logged out, right? So we can display different buttons, like if user is logged in we can display the dashboard button. If the user is not logged in we can display login and register button, right? So we can decide based on this state. And this is the about authentication. If we need other state like different one, we can also use the states. So overall state is thing where we can manage our data globally over the application. We can use it into any of our application component, right? This is the main theory of this overall Vuex. And why we are going to use this in our application? Because we want to check that our user is logged in or not, right? We want to check that our token is set or not. That is the main thing. Okay, just click on this what is Vuex. So I'll also tell you that here, explain you that what are the things it contains, right? So let me first install this. So just click on this installation. So installation is pretty simple. Just copy this, go to your application, and here I'm going to terminate this and then paste this out. Okay, so this will save Vuex in your application. Okay, it's saving, and here now after this it will save the Vuex in our application. So now we need to create the store, right, and then manage our login state. So let's go here on our application, and here as whenever we are visiting a login page, so I clicked on login and it's redirected me on the dashboard without managing the state. So we'll manage the state here, but before this we are getting error exios dot error is not a function, right? So in the previous video I added here error, so this would be the catch, right? So just go here and give it a refresh, so this will be resolved now. I disabled my command here, right, npm run dev, so that's why it's behaving like this, and our Vuex is successfully installed. Perfect. Just get refresh, and yes, now it's not throwing any error, so we will see in a minute. So I'm going to explain this with the step-by-step guide. I'm not going to cut this video even if I'm getting the errors. So here I'm going to go to this login and dashboard, and yes, I'm able to visit this login. So now first let me create the store, right? So whenever I'm going to log in, so I will manage the state here, right, where I told you that I will use dispatch event here, right? So I'll use my state here. Sorry guys. Okay, so before this we need to create a store. So just go here, go to this JS directory and create a new directory of store, and in the store you can create the index.js. okay, and here we need to create our store. So simply import first to create store method from Vuex. So just say create store from Vuex, something like this, right? And whenever I want to create the store, right, we can save this into the variables, or I can export this. So I'm going to do is export default, and here what I'm going to export, I can define it directly here, right? So I'm going to export now. Let me cut them out. Here I can say that store, oops, create store, and here just pass this parenthesis, something like this. And this store contain the multiple properties, right? So the very first, I will explain these properties in more detail, what are their functionalities, right? I'll also give you the brief about from the documentation how this state is going to execute this overall states. So the first property would be the state, right? This would be something like this. Okay, state, and after the state we add mutations, right? Mutation, something like this, and after that we need to execute the actions, and after this actions we are going to use getters, right? So these are the objects which store contain, right? This one is, there is a state, mutation, actions, and getter. So in the actions, let me first give you the brief detail about from the documentation page. Let's go here, and just understand this view action state. Go here, and whenever our component is requesting for dispatch, as I told you that we will dispatch our event from the login. So this is our component, and we are dispatching an event, and what it event does is it's going to the action state, right? If I go here, it's coming in the action, this object, right? And we can define here multiple functions here to execute the action, and when this action is executed, it commit a mutation, right? So it's commit this mutation. So just see it here. After this action, it's sending the request on the backend and getting the result, and then committing to the mutation, right? After committing to the mutation, we are changing our state and then passing this to the view components again, right? So let me now, I will explain this with the simpler guide. So let's understand it, that let's suppose we want to check user authentication status, right? We want to check the user authentication status. So we will call here our user, we will call this through the function and check that what's the user status, right? And we will define our status, by default status here in this state. And then if we want to now change the state, we need to do this with mutation. We cannot directly update this state. So after getting the response from the action, we will commit this to this mutation, and by using this mutation we can update this state. And whenever we need this in our Vue.js components, we can get this using this getters. So these names are very descriptive. The getters is used to get the details, action is going to execute any actions, mutation is some mutating something, and this one is state is some state. Okay, just here I'm going to now define some state. This one is a rough guide to tell you that what I'm going to cover this. So first thing is here I'm going to check that my token is set or not. So you will be seeing this token in the upcoming few minutes, right? So I'm going to set the token null right here, and then I'm going to set another variable which is authenticated. So here I'm going to also say that it's a null. Let me move it here and pass the comma. So here I will collect my token and store it here. So basically you can say that I'm defining a variable where I will store my token. So by default it's null. And here I'm also saying that is it authenticated, I'm mentioning it by default false. So here I define these two variables, and now I will send my request on the server, right, and then get my response from the server and want to update this these two states. So I need to play with the mutation to update these states, and then I can get those states using this one. This is the whole logic. So here what I'm going to do here I'm going to say that I need to send request on the server. So first I need to define the check user authentication status, check user authentication status, and this accepts here a commit, right, and in this case it will accept the commit. And I'm going to say that I want to send my request on the server, right, so I will send my request on the API/user, or I can send that API/authenticated. So I'll build this route in a minute, or I think I need to do it right now, right? So first I'll go here and I'm going to say that I'm going to say that get, and this would be the authenticated, and I'm going to say that auth controller, and this would be the check user status, and then remove this name. We are not going to use this name anymore. Check user authentication status, and go here in the controller, and let's say public function check user authentication status, something like this. And here I'm going to check my user that is it logged in or not. So I can say that to request to user is it logged in or not, right? So here I can, if the user is logged in, or simply I can use check method here, or auth check. So I'm going to return true and false based on decision auth check, right, and I'm going to say that true, otherwise return the false, right? And after that I want to return this response back. So return what, I can simply return it here without mentioning anything, return something like this. It will return true or false. Okay, and now I'm going to visit this route here. So here now this will send the request on this one. So I'm going to say that axios.get API/authenticated, and then I'm going to check that what's its status. So after sending the request, it will now return us back something like with the true and false. So I'm going to say that to response something like this, console.log response, and then same for the error, right, catch, not the error as I did this in the previous one. So here console.log error, right? So most probably I'm going to copy this axios. I don't want to write it every time, right? So I'm going to say here in the JS axios syntax dot txt, right? So here I'm pasting this out. I'll copy it and then paste it wherever I want to use this axios, and then get this status. So here I'm getting the response from the server. So now just execute this action method. So how to execute this? So for this we need to dispatch our event. So how to dispatch the event? Just save this one, and before using calling this function, we need to import this store in our application. So how to do this? So simply go here in the app.js and import it here. Import here you can say that store from store, right? Store, or it will directly look at this index.js, but I'm mentioning this for following the convention. App.use store, something like not the user, it would be the use. Save this one. Now we are using this store, and I'm going to call this action. Now how to call this? So we want to call this in the login, right, where we want to set the state. So go to this components, let me close this authentication controller, and then I want to call this in the login.view. So here I told you that I will set the dispatch status. So here you can directly now call your Vuex, right? So how to call this? I'm going to say that this dot $store, right, dot, here you can use dispatch method, right, dispatch, and what you want to dispatch, I want to dispatch this one, right? So simply copy this name here and what you want to dispatch, right? So you need to mention its status here. So let's say I want to mention its state something like I can say constant state, constant to status, just status equal true, something like this, right? So I want to pass this status here, right, status, and we need to go here and also get the status here too. Status, not get this, I think. Yeah, here we need this, I think. No, we don't need this, just I'll get this. So just go here and check that whenever I will hit this login, so it will dispatch my event, because when I'm clicking on login, it's executing this one. Just click on this login, and we faced an error, API / unprocessable entry. Okay, let me, our state should be executed. Oh my god, let me get refresh to clear all of the stuff. Just refresh, click on this login, and we are logged in, and here we are getting the status, but still this one isn't executed, right? So let me do it without the status, this dot store dot dispatch. I'm using it properly, I don't know why it's not working. Let me click on this login. Okay, but this dispatch spelling is correct, this dot store dot dispatch. So I'm going to say that console dot log, I can say after this dispatch, something like this. So is it executing this? Click on this. Let me send this request after dispatching this, yes, but we are not getting the, we are not able to execute this out. So let me fix this, and I'm coming back. Okay guys, our application is dispatching this event, but if I go here and as I did this same, let me close this other application here, I'm returning true and false from here, and here I'm sending this request and getting the response, and I'm not getting the response. Why? Because I'm getting the true and false. Just click on this login, and in the network tab, let's see here in the authenticated, my request is sending okay 200 okay status, but in the response I'm not getting anything. That's why I'm not getting this response here, right? So just go here and you can comment this out, and this will show you the result right at this time too. If I say something like this, so just go here and let's click on this. Oops, let me enter something. Click on the login, and then yes, it's showing you SSS, right? I want to show the response. If you want to show the response, just go here and return this as status, something like this, status equal this one, and then return this, return response, and then got back this to the as a JSON. I'm going to say that authenticated and then here you can say that status, or you can simply say that status, right? And then return this back. I'm not going to pass any of the status. We can pass this 200 or something like this. Just pass it 200. Okay, save this one, and now let's go here and get this response here. So just go to this login page, clear this out, click on this, fill the ROM. That's why I haven't I'm matching these credentials in the auth controller, because I whenever I will fix my these I'm just matching those credentials. So this will always I need to choose a specific user and then send this request. So now at this time it's just matching any of the credential and returning back to me. So that is a huge time saving for me. Just click on this login, and here you got the response, and the request would be status is false, right? It's gone to the here you can see that its status is false, right? And you can see this in the authenticated here, status false, right? And we are now getting that our user status is false, right? So how we are checking this? We are checking this using this auth check. Still you can use this method to check that our user is logged in or not. Sanctum is checking that is this user is logged in, and you need to also specify this in the middleware, right? Let's say not the middleware, because we are checking the state here, that is it authenticated or not. Okay, perfect. And yeah, I think let me think a scenario. Here is okay, fine. So now I want to set my other things, like I want to set I want to commit this to the mutation.